Hey guys, the answer is no. So to me, this is a tricky subject, and it's because a lot of promoters, graphic designers, producers, and even artists will try to sell you on promotion. And there are so many ways to promote yourself on social media, let alone Instagram. Like, the word promotion can mean so many different things. When you are being promoted, it's like you're being furthered, you're being boosted, stimulated, elevated, advanced, and raised in the ranks of social media. But let's look at what's really important here. Let's take a closer look. I am a self-produced artist. I make beats for artists and all that other bullshit. I mean, it's not bullshit. I fucking love it so much. I just call everything bullshit because I feel like everything is just a bunch of bullshit. But speaking of bullshit, I have a song called Satoshi where I say everything gets big when you zoom in up close. I'll link that in the description for anyone who wants to check it out. But let's zoom in a little bit on IG promo. Now, if you guys have not checked out my video on how to crush it on Instagram in 2019, I very highly recommend checking it out because of what I'm about to tell you in this video. But Instagram values attention probably more than anything. Like, even money. Kinda like, YouTube and the rest of social media and fucking the internet. So if you want results on Instagram, you basically want to get people's attention. But that's basic. That's basically what you want. That's basically what you do. There's so much to shit like Instagram. There's so much more than the basics. Now, because our 7-million-year-old monkey brains, despite their more complex layers and circuitry and shit, are naturally lazy and by default susceptible to, at least in 2019, negative external influences disguised as positive ones, people like to think that there's not much more to Instagram than the basic idea of getting somebody's attention. But if that were true, Instagram wouldn't be worth, you know, like a fucking $100 billion like it has been since June 2018. So getting attention is not enough. A lot of promoters think that it is, but if they pay their own attention to the shit that goes on deep in the trenches, they might realize that what you really need is to keep the attention you get. You can't just get it. You can't just get attention. And if this were true, Donald Trump wouldn't be president. I might have laughed at that, but I'm fucking serious. So there needs to be a human element of focus in this. You can't automate human focus using software. And if you can, a lot of maintenance needs to be involved in it. That's why Facebook is a company and not just a website. People are talking about Drake and Cardi B and all this other shit, but those artists are the ones keeping attention. They're not just getting it, it's consistent. The more their names move through the music industry on social media platforms,
it's 9 o'clock.
the more attention they get. But there are emotions involved. People are curious. These artists are putting up content and shit. If you don't put out content consistently, I mean, you need to stir up some sort of momentum. You need to stir up some sort of controversy. There needs to be something more than just automation involved. And I have not worked with these people, these promoters. I have not, but I've talked to them about how they do it, and I don't agree with it. I think it's shallow. I think the way they look at results is skewed because it's basic. It's not focused on the right things. And if it's focused on them, it's not focused enough on them to sufficient degrees. And if they want to look at this basically just to pretend that labels agree with it, even if labels do, labels will be surprised to find out why so many artists they sign are fucking flopping, and nobody ever finds out who they are because these artists can get everybody's attention, but not keep it. And I'm sure there are promoters who are entirely on top of their shit, and they know 5 billion times more than I do on topics like this. Like, dude, I'm a little kid. I don't know everything in the universe, okay? But I'm willing to bet that some of those promoters are at least considering things like this. And the majority of the ones who don't go any further than promoting artists who never fucking get anywhere and are quick to give up on music because they're discouraged by lack of substantial short-term results. Those promoters do not consider this. These promoters, the ones who are not on top of their shit, I have yet to meet one who really is, at least with Instagram promo. Maybe that's why I'm so hard-headed about things like this. These promoters use programs. There's an entire market for programs that you use to automate Instagram promotion. Really think about that. Some of these programs I've heard of, I've actually tried a few of them out for a few weeks before looking at it and being like, wait, what the fuck is happening? And then just pulling out, you know, like you do. There's Follow Liker, there's Follower Monkey. There was Instagress, but it got shut down, thankfully. There's also Gramista. Instagram is cracking down on inauthentic user activity. Anyway, so even if you see these things and or use them, I won't be surprised when they're like, nah bro, say goodbye to your hollow follows. That's what this shit does, it's automation. You can't automate the creation of content. Content doesn't create itself. You can't do that. yet. But even when you can, Instagram will probably find some way to do something about it and get the upper hand there. So Instagram has a very simple layout and shit, but like I said, there's so many different things you can do with it, and that's awesome. These automation tools take things like targeted demographics, like hashtags, accounts, and they perform actions like a normal human being does. By actions, I mean like follow, comment, DM, but they do it every, 5, 10, 20, 30 seconds and so on. And you get to choose all that, as well as the filters, which is a lot of things, like age, gender, language, how many followers, how many posts, maximum, minimum of all those different things, and probably more. Now, honestly, this isn't bad. Like, there's a reason it exists. It does work, but pretty much like anything else in life, if you want to look at results, it's not just whether it works for you. It's about how you approach it too. That's a cool rhyme. But if you use any of this shit, I very, very highly recommend only using auto likes. But you gotta put up content literally no matter what. It's just a fucking necessity. If you're talking about growth on Instagram, if you don't put up content like once a day, even once a week, even that, find one thing you do every week that you could just be like, okay, Instagram, I'm alive, I exist.
Here's my face.
This is my life, this is what I do. If you don't do that, but you use this tool, your shit is more worthless than it is valuable. And that's not how I feel, because I have nothing to do with this. It's actually how Instagram and its algorithm work. And I hate to complicate everything like this, but sometimes you need to look deeper than just the surface level of things to get more out of them and understand like what the problems are with what you are doing and how you can optimize them more. There's something more than probably anything in Instagram. If you want to talk about these results of keeping the attention you get, if you have 10,000 followers and 10 likes and 1 comment per post, that's not as impressive as having 1,000 followers and 100 likes and 10 comments per post. Like if everybody puts something in, every follower actually does something and puts their attention into your content, there are ratios. The more congruent those numbers are with each other, the more similar those comment numbers and likes numbers and everything like that are, the closer the follower amount, comment amount, and like amount all are to each other, the better. Because that's a little proof that as an account, you are valuable to the people who come across you. But it's just a little proof. And if you want a lot, you have to put up content. It actually takes, fucking like time, like everything else in life. Like I said, you can't automate emotions. You can't quantify feelings. You can't buy relationships. I mean, you can, but you can only really buy like the start of them. There's a lot of other shit that goes into it than just money. And you have to put more content up over time. And every time, if you keep getting those results and they grow, you begin to gather more and more data that will help you kind of direct yourself in the direction you want to go in. And few people know exactly where they want to go anyway from the start. But if somebody wants to promise some follower amount or like amount or comment amount for some dollar amount, they are full of shit. The fact that they don't know better is a very, very bad thing. If you're interested in buying in it, but you don't either, that's misinformation. And it does lead to problems, which can lead to solutions, which are, valuable. You live and you learn and you fuck up and profit from your mistakes eventually. But if you want to cut your learning curve like crazy here and save some time, not many people are going to tell you that the conversion rate is so much more than just follower amounts. These automation tools and shit look at conversion rates. Like say the action is following. Okay, I followed 2 people and one of them followed back. That means I have a 50% conversion rate.
That doesn't mean you have a 50% conversion rate.
To Instagram just means you have 1 more follower than you did before. Because that person did not like or comment on your photo that you posted yesterday or fucking 7 months ago, because a lot of people who just buy promotion don't realize that content is important. Like I said 17 other times in this video, probably. So if anything, that actually means
you have a lower conversion rate than you did before.
And if they did like and or comment, good for you. But are they gonna like and or comment on the next one and the next one? You see where I'm going here? Simply following people and or commenting on their shit may look like it's getting you somewhere, but even if you look at impressions, like how many times your shit is viewed by anyone, it's pointless. Because Instagram can't measure emotions. No one can measure emotions. And that may sound corny, but dude, when's the last time you heard something corny that was also false? You can't be like, oh my gosh, I saw that shit on his story and had 423 micro laughs to it. And if you couldn't be like, oh my gosh, I saw that shit on his story and had 423 micro laughs to it because that happened to me on degree 13 of the universal relatable scale. And if you couldn't be like, oh my gosh, I saw that shit on his story and had 423 micro laughs to it because that happened to me on degree 13 of the universal relatable scale just yesterday at 5:23 p.m. at Madison Square. And if you couldn't be like, oh my gosh, I saw that shit on his story and had 423 micro laughs to it because that happened to me on degree 13 of the universal relatable scale just yesterday at 5:23 p.m. in the middle of Madison Square after a bird took a 46% white liquid and 54% black solid shit on my left shoulder while I was 7/16 of the way finished with my zebra popcorn, and I was so grossed out that I started crying 12.8 tears of humiliation and 4.9 tears of shame per minute. My point is that I feel like people aren't looking deep enough at this to realize it fucking doesn't work in the eyes of the actual platforms they use it for. They're not looking at the depth. These followers, all these promoters keep talking about how much do they engage in your posts? How emotional are the engagements? How much attention do they give you? Give me an automation tool that can measure emotions and I'll fucking pay you for it. If you want to automate things, let the people do the work. AKA, you can put up content consistently and actually engage with the people to some degree. If you want to just like their shit, I mean, totally fine. By me, it's your life. Go ahead and use the automation tool. But if you're not putting up content and putting in some sort of engagement to the bodies that everybody is trying to count, don't be surprised at that one point down the line when you realize it didn't work out. Let me know if you guys have any ideas you want me to talk about in future videos, and I'll give you a shout out if and when I use them. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. There are links at the bottom of the description to all my social media. Also at the bottom of the description, there are links to my new production kits where you can find all the hardware and software that I use to make music and these videos. If you buy any, I get commissioned, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos for you guys. I made all the beats in this video. If you want to use them, you can find links to each one of them in the description from first to last that I use them, or at samuel.earth/beats. Make sure to leave a like if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already. If you could turn on that little bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.